Now, I don't yet know if you've heard the news.
We're having a baby!
But my wife and I are having a baby. So I'm gonna take some time off tattooing to take care of my family. I don't yet know exactly how long this break is gonna be. So if you want a tattoo before spring, maybe next year, you should book the appointment before I'm out. As always, use the link in the description below and Sully will take care of you.
Hola, Pato.
What's going on? Welcome back. I'm still struggling, trying not to say Hola, Pato every time I start an episode. I'm really happy that I stumbled upon those words and figured out that they helped me kind of ease into every episode like a mantra. But I don't want to have a fucking catchphrase, like I'm a comedian from the 1950s or something. So I'm trying to detox and get away, stay clear from it. I'm feeling great today. I'm looking fresh thanks to my girl Vitória Vilela, aka Vivi, aka Bibi, like I say, and she makes fun of me because I'm Spanish and I don't know how to pronounce the difference between a V and a B. We were kind of conflicted and puzzled. We did not know which t-shirt from hers to grab. I loved this one, but there was one that had a nice floral motif in the front, and I was like, yeah, I think, I love the other one, but I think the other one, you will be able to see it when I'm sitting down and shooting. So yeah, my solution, look at this shit. I just said, I'm gonna show my butt for the first time. Isn't that fucking cool? So yeah, thanks, Bibi. Okay, so let's get into it. Not a lot of people know this, but before I moved to Berlin, I used to work as an art director. In case you don't know what that is, which I won't blame you for, because I myself did not know what that was the day before or the week before I went to the interview for that job. It's essentially, in every advertisement agency, I don't know how it works nowadays because there's, user experience and fucking online departments and whatnot. But back in the day, you would have the creative department and the creative department would be divided by creative couples, and each couple was a copywriter and an art director. So the copywriter words, art director visual, and that was essentially it. I don't really know how I ended up there. It's impossible to explain how I ended up there without really getting into some of my kind of personal drama. But after a long story, I studied graphic design. I felt I was too sad and had too much free time on my hands. So I decided to add a couple extra credits to my university studies, and I made an apprenticeship, or how is it called, like a practicum they say in Germany. I think is a whatever. I worked through university in an advertisement agency, and that was not my plan. I was studying graphic design. I thought they would find me a spot in a graphic design studio. They looked at my portfolio and they went like, fuck, you're all over the place. You do a little bit of animation, a little bit of illustration, a lot of like video editing, and like barely any typography, barely any editorial. So what the fuck are we gonna do with you? And they went, yeah, I think there's a place for a profile like yours. You like to do a lot of things, not get really deep into anything. So I think you would be a good art director. I was lucky enough that I got lined up that opportunity in a great advertisement agency that I had never heard of. My friends that were into advertisement, especially my friend Hector, he was like, what the fuck, you're going to an interview and you don't even know who they are? Like, they're like gurus, they're the best in Barcelona. It was a place called STPF. And he had this giant book with all the work they had been putting out since the 80s, and he said, like, dude, read that. Gave it to me a couple days before the interview, um, and yeah, that was the first thing I knew. But I think because of my attitude of not knowing who they were, not being really impressed by who they were, what they did, and advertisement in general, it set a weird mood with the sector as a whole, and my agency particularly, in which it was almost like a love-hate relationship, in which I almost wanted to go out because I didn't like it that much, and then every time they would ask me, like, oh, what would it take for you to stay, I would just say something ridiculous, like, oh, give me that much money, or like, give me that much money and put me into that department, and buy me 3 hats. And every time that I would ask for something, they would go like, sure. And I then was not able to say no. So I kept on staying, and despite not having seen myself really making a career in it, I moved pretty fast and pretty smoothly up the ladder. And it brought me, I think I was around 24, 25 years old, and I think I had a burnout, which is what eventually led me to quit my job, move to Berlin, and kind of, figure out what I wanted to do.
Today's episode is brought to you by Skillshare, the online learning community that's helped millions to learn cutting-edge skills, network with peers, and find new opportunities to launch their career. Every week I receive messages from people saying that they learned a lot from my rants, and I always tell them the same thing. You should not listen to anything I say, let alone try to learn from me. If you want to learn anything, you should really check Skillshare. Skillshare has tons of classes on things like illustration, video editing, marketing, graphic design, and social media. And trust me, that's just to name a few. And they all range in level depending on how much knowledge you have on each subject. Most of the classes offered at Skillshare are under 60 minutes, and their catalog is always growing with new premium classes by top-tier teachers, including a few celebrities. Sign up for Skillshare and start learning today. And as a special offer for our listeners, you can now get a 30% off your annual Skillshare membership by clicking the link in the description below and using the promo code annual30AFF. That is promo code ANNUAL, the number 30 AFF. Once again, for the morons like me that don't know how to spell and should definitely use Skillshare, ANNUAL, number 30 AFF. Today's episode is also brought to you by you. Well, not really, but it could be. We have finally launched our very own Patreon, so you can now become an official sponsor of Hola, Pato. We've set up different membership tiers so that our supporters can help us with as little as $1 for every episode. These will not only help us a lot, but it will also allow you to enter exclusive giveaways and gain access to our Discord. Now, full disclosure, we don't yet know how Discord works, but we'll figure it out. If you can afford a bit more and pay around $5 for every episode, you can join the next tier and become an official sponsor of the show. Sponsors will be credited in every episode, and on top of that, they will have all the benefits of a supporter plus exclusive discount codes for upcoming merch drops. And last but not least, those of you who are really invested in seeing this show grow have now the chance to subscribe to the top tier and become a producer. Producers will enjoy all the benefits of a supporter and a sponsor, and on top of that, they will receive exclusive behind-the-scenes updates and will be able to send feedback and suggest topics to make the show better. Head now to patreon.com/holapato or use the link in the description below. Choose your tier and subscribe to your monthly membership so that you can start enjoying all the cool things we have ready for you. Once again, head to patreon.com/holapato and become a part of our flock, aka La Bandada.
So I don't know, over the years I try and look fondly at that time despite the headaches and health problems that brought me. And not only because if there's no advertisement, there's no burnout, and if there's no burnout, there's no Berlin, and if there's no Berlin, there's no my wife, and if there's no tattoo, and there's no my children. So I learned to make peace with also quote unquote bad decisions that I took, because they're a part of who I am nowadays and what I do. And I wouldn't change anything for anything. But as I grow older, I kind of review that chapter of my life and understand that there's more than just a necessary step to bring me where I needed to be. I truly met amazing people. This is one of the things. All my stereotypes with advertisement got confirmed. The hookers, the coke, the drinking, the late night, the children confusing their fathers for the gardener. All that shit is true. What I was absolutely surprised by is how amazing the people that work in advertisement is and how talented they are. I think at a certain point in every creative person's career, there's a moment in which they want to stabilize a little bit and they feel attracted by money. And they are the ones that have the most money. So you tend to find very talented people from all over the creative landscape working in advertisement. So I met people that were very, very talented, not only doing the job that we were doing, but also as writers, animators, illustrators. And that's not even speaking about the freelancers that I would work with, which are the ones that land the big gigs and that, you know, are hired by agencies like mine to do projects for Nike and IKEA and wedding and all that shit. So I think from all the people that I met, the ones that I was working with the closest are the ones that, you know, I hold the dearest to my heart. But not only because they were my friends, but I often find myself thinking of lessons that I learned through them, especially with my friends Roscoe and Lolo. And maybe, I don't know, because Lolo was the one who was back when we were together, working together, the copywriter. It's a long story, but his cousin used to be an art director. Nowadays, he's an amazing copywriter. But back then, I think Lolo had just, you know, a way with words. And he would have always like a very effective and short and direct way to talk to me, and things would just talk. And with him, I learned, first of all, that you know, people that could have been anywhere, like himself. He was and he is so talented. A lot of them chose to be there because they loved, especially TV commercials, and I never really quite understood why. And I remember him telling me about the value of hiding beauty in uncommon places, unexpected places, like TV commercials. That of course, if you go to a museum or a gallery, you're kind of already open to receive beauty. But sometimes when you find it in the most unexpected places, it grabs you by surprise. And that's what he was really interested about. and he would never see himself as such an elevated artist or whatever, but he has that sensibility. So I finally understood that he was after this feeling of just having someone relaxed in front of a TV and boom, dumping an idea on them or a visual input that would make them, that would cause a bigger impact in them that perhaps a painting hanging in an art gallery, because their defenses were low, right? I think this is one of the reasons why, as I grow older and I am more comfortable with who I am, I think I'm kind of moving away from tattoos that don't look like tattoos and that look like a piece of art, and I'm more attracted to tattoos that look like tattoos, but that bring all that baggage and all that aesthetic impact that my most artistic pieces had. I think there is something about finding beauty in unexpected places, like he used to say, and thinking for a second that you're staring at something as lowbrow as a tattoo, and all of a sudden being moved by it because of the, I don't know, soul that it has, or maybe like the color palette or the references that represent the foundation of that piece in particular. Staring at a fully tattooed arm and all of a sudden having that one piece that does something to you. I think this is the idea that I find myself the most attracted to in the last few years. And I don't know, I think we're all coming to terms with who we are. Nowadays, Lolo Gonzalez, he runs a creative agency and magazine called A Flamenco Catharsis, which you should definitely check. I'll link it up in the description. And he presents flamenco culture under a very special light, and puts this, I don't know, like high fashion approach to flamenco, which only increases that almost like polarizing dichotomy that flamenco has, that of being something really lowbrow, especially I think outside of Spain is appreciated as high culture, but inside the country is still very charged with the stigma of working class and you know, systemic racism. But political arguments aside, I think it has always had that dichotomy, that being something really lowbrow and something really elevated and high culture. And I think what Lolo finds in flamenco is what I find in tattooing. What he found in advertisement is what I also find in tattooing. Yes, I do have the brains and I do have the baggage and the culture to be doing fine arts, but I choose to do tattooing. I choose to not be so on the nose with my intentions to move you and to make you think. I want you to just think that you're looking, you know, at a badass and you know, some ink on the chest, and all of a sudden, boom, I got you. But whatever, ramblings of an old man. That's all the time we got today. As always, like, share, leave comments, subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. You can support our Patreon with a monthly subscription or make a one-time donation to our GoFundMe, which is still up and running. We don't know for how long. I'll see you guys next week.